Rad Celebrity Hairstylist here, your host of the Hairstylist Empowerment Podcast. So today we have an exciting guest that you may or may have not heard of. So Heidi has an incredible story, and she probably has something you want to learn because a lot of people want to learn how to start a bridal business. So I want to say welcome, Heidi.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, so it's great. So Heidi just contact me, and it's great. We always love people to say, hey, if you want to be on, you have a short story to share, you want to be on the podcast. But Heidi's not only a hairstylist, but a freelance, hair artist, has a bridal business. She's also a doula, and then we're going to talk more about that in the program. So we're going to jump right in, Heidi. So just
Okay.
tell me a little bit about yourself and somewhat of your background.
Yeah, so I've been doing hair for about my whole life, I should say, actually. Professionally, since I went to the Veda Institute, that was 10 years ago, but I was someone who was always doing everyone else's hair kind of on the side. In high school, and even before that, I was doing my sister's hair for piano recitals and my Barbie's hair for fake proms that they were going to. So I've always loved updos and I've always loved hair, but I always felt like, is that a real career? Can I really do that? So it took me a long time to actually get to the place I'm at now because I went and got a 4-year degree. I got some other certifications. I became a doula. I did a lot of different stuff before I committed to becoming a cosmetologist and actually doing the career that I totally love and is a legit career. So it just took a while for me to get to that point and get over some of the stigmas I think that I had in my head about doing that. So yeah.
Wow, it sounds like you've had an exciting journey, and I know this podcast it's going to probably be packed with so much information and bubbling over. And ever since I kind of read your stuff, it's like this is a person I have to meet. This is a person I want to talk to. This is a person with a wealth of knowledge. And I think our empowerment podcast, you guys are really going to enjoy, what Heidi has to say today. So, do you think that doing hair was always a calling for you, that you felt that kind of on your heart, that it kind of like, this is what I'm going to do no matter what? Or did you kind of go down different avenues and then say, this is it for me?
Yeah, it took a while for me to actually say this can be a calling and this can be the way that I serve people and that I spend
Hmm.
my life, because it was just a hobby and it was a passion and it was fun and it was just what I always did on the side and what I was naturally good at,
Hmm.
but not what I thought I could make money doing. So
Okay.
it wasn't until I started working with more brides and working in the wedding industry more where I
Hmm.
saw, wow, I can really impact people here and I
Hmm.
can really use this job to not only serve brides and their wedding parties, but also hiring a team that's worked with me now. I can actually provide income for other
Hmm.
hairstylists who want to do what I do as well. And that can be really, that was really empowering for me too, to realize that I can help someone else live a life that they love and has flexibility and that they can provide for their family too. So that's when it started to become more of like, oh yeah, this is something that I feel like I've had a gift and a passion for my whole life. And now it's actually flourishing into how I can spend my days.
Hmm. So with your beauty business, though, you also offer not just hair. Do you offer other services like makeup and things like that as well?
Yes. So about 4 years ago, I realized that every bride that was contacting me was also asking who does makeup and who wants to help me. And what I ended up doing then was, after realizing I was bringing somebody in almost every wedding, was deciding to
Hmm.
hire a makeup artist to work with me too, because that's not my area of expertise. So now I have a lead makeup artist who's kind of my go-to gal, and then another makeup artist on my team as well. So I can just focus on hair.
Yeah, and that's perfect. And I think that's what a lot of us realize. And I think too, as stylists, we try, or salon owners or freelancers, we try to do everything ourselves. And you know from your own experience, sometimes you need to expand. And like you said, now these other people have a source of income, not only yourself, but also these other people you're empowering. And it saves you trying to go to YouTube, watch a makeup video and say, I'm a makeup artist.
Exactly.
Because yeah, obviously, with the training
Yeah,
and going
it's
through a
not my thing.
beta, that we we're experts, and people, and bridal, I think bridal is so tough because you had that one shot,
Hmm.
even if they come for a trial, but you have that one shot, And obviously
Hmm.
you have different types of brides, which we'll probably talk about today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because everybody's a little bit different in how they are. And sometimes they're the nicest person when they come, but on their wedding day, they're nervous. They've got
Yep.
everything in their head of what has to go on. And you're the person
Yes.
that's right there that, like, would you say you're like their psychologist, or what's a typical that a, so what would be your process? So if a bride would call you, what would be the bride's process with you?
To go through a booking process.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so usually they inquire through my website and we kind of go back and forth on, am I available? How big is their wedding party? Where's their wedding party? And all that sort of stuff. And then almost always we sign a contract first so they can
Hmm.
secure their date and then set up the trial closer to their wedding date. And something that I do that's a little unique is I have a no risk deposit.
Oh,
So
wow.
they can put down their deposit and I will give them a full refund if they do their trial with me and they're not happy. And I just feel
Okay.
like sometimes personalities just don't mesh and I don't want them to feel uncomfortable on their wedding day, and I would
Hmm.
rather give them all their deposit back and have them find someone else that's a better fit. So I feel like I have pretty good success because people trust me in that way,
Hmm.
and I'm really willing to work really hard to make sure they're really happy even if it's not with me. So
Hmm.
that's my typical process for getting going.
No, but that's something very honorable too, because most people are like, I need a 50% deposit from you, and if you don't, I'm not going to give you any money back. I'm just going to keep it. But then again, like you say, maybe there's a personality sort of thing, or you're not able to do what they want. So I think it's a good way.
Mm-hmm.
So instead, like even I think the wedding day, it's saving you, the artist, some extra stress as well. Because if you're stressed out about
Yes,
doing
for
this
sure.
bride's hair, and it's not something you're really comfortable with, but they're just like, I need to get somebody close. I'm just going to call the first person that says yes. I don't think,
Mm-hmm.
like I say, it's not always right just about taking the money and doing it. You should do it when you know
Right.
you can flourish and you can give them the best. So it's, I think it's the same when they put on that wedding dress, they just know it's that one. I think it's the same with the
Exactly.
hairstyle. It really, would you say, kind of represents them on their wedding day, like who they are, who they're becoming, the journey they're
Yes.
taking.
It just
It's like,
clicks.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it just clicks for them and you can see it. When you do a trial and you
Mhm.
nailed it, you know. I mean, it's
Mhm.
all across their face. So,
So how easy it is, do you think, from the trial to the wedding day, how easy is it to replicate the same?
yeah, so I take a lot of pictures
Okay.
and I actually make some pretty detailed notes for myself.
Hmm.
Now that my wedding business has grown, I don't remember who I
No,
did. So
that's right.
even if I think, oh, this bride is so memorable, I'm not going to forget her, it's
Hmm.
just not possible. 6 months later, it
No.
leaves me. So I take really good notes on not only they're a little bit about them, so I
Hmm.
can kind of jog my
Yeah.
memory, but
Hmm.
also my technique, so I can remember how I did that
Oh, perfect. I
up
think
to.
too, what it is you're also in that moment. So when you're with them, you're just in that moment. Everything else clears away. You're in the moment with them, and a lot of times, then you do forget after, just because you're so focused on what you're doing and not focused on everything else. You're just focused on the person in your
Right.
chair, doing the best you can, doing the techniques. So when you went to Aveda, how did you find the training? What was your first day like? Were you nervous? Were you scared? Or you're like, I got this?
Yes, so I was so excited to go to Aveda. I had been
Yeah.
driving past the building for
Mhm.
years, and I was 25 when I went
Yeah.
back, and it just felt like, yes, I'm finally pursuing this dream. So I was pumped.
Yeah.
And actually, I'd been cutting my friend's hair, and in college, I was doing that for a long time. So I felt a little confident, maybe overly so, going into it because I definitely learned a ton.
Yeah.
Um, and beauty school can be a little bit like 13th grade. It was a
Mhm.
little challenging as a
Yeah.
25-year-old to be with a lot of people right out of high school.
Mhm.
But overall, the content, I just ate it up and
Mhm.
I just loved it. So I knew it was right. I knew I was in the right place when I got there.
Yeah, I love the Aveda Institute. I'm here at Toronto, Canada, so we also have an Aveda here. I've actually gone a couple of
Okay.
times and had my hair cut there, just because I'm an
Yeah,
educator. So I like to go and see what the students are doing, right? And it's just because then they don't
totally.
know, here you're a platform artist, you're a celebrity stylist, you're this. So I don't tell them any of that, but I just like to see. how the process
Yes,
is.
how things go.
Exactly, and kind of what are the
Mhm,
schools teaching now, and just to kind of keep in the
mhm.
loop and that sort of thing. So I find it's really fun. I have a lot of friends that work with Aveda as educators and things like that too. So
Yeah.
it's I think that's the thing. It's always that when you make that decision, I'm going to do something. I'm going to go for it. And as I say, like probably a lot of people are a little bit overconfident because you like I can do this. I've done my friends' hair. I've done my family's hair. I know how to do hair. Why do I even need to go to
Totally.
school? like
Yeah,
like they're just
totally.
going to pass me. I'm going to walk in. They're going to say you're brilliant and here's your diploma.
Yes. Go ahead. Mhm.
But how did you find some of the other students that you trained with? Were they as passionate about hair or were they just kind of there? What was your mix of the group that you trained with?
There was a lot of people who had tried college and it didn't go well for them because I
Okay.
started in January. So
Ah,
it felt like it was like half people who were kind of trying to figure out their path and then half people who were excited about hair and have wanted to do it for a long time and had a lot of passion.
hmm.
Um, so it was a mix and there was a handful of dropouts.
Oh, okay.
And actually when I look at my graduating class, I'm like, there's not that many people who are actually doing this as
Yeah.
a career now.
And
So
still
I don't
doing
know
it.
what it takes exactly,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
right, right, 10
I
years
guess
later.
I
So
guess it either clicks or it doesn't. Because when I went to school, it was funny because when I went to school, I didn't even want to do hair, so I wanted to be in the arts and do
oh, no
something.
kidding.
Yeah, so I thought if at least if I can't,
Sure.
so for me to be an actor, if I couldn't be on stage, at least I could do hair and work backstage, right? But of course, it's all that thing
Mhm.
too. So when you tell your family I'm going to be, an actor, they're like, okay, get a real job. And then I said, okay, I'm going to be a hairstylist.
Right.
That was even worse than being an actor. It's like,
Totally.
okay, sort of thing. And so I went to school. I did the first year because I thought, okay, I'm gone to school. I'll do at least for a year. So I did it for a year. Then I did it for 5 years.
Mhm.
And then, you make your new goals. But then I became a competition stylist. I competed for 8 years, became a platform artist, became a celebrity stylist. So because I was either
Okay.
going to be, say, like in the arts or be a shrink. That was my other one. So where this I find here, you must find the same thing that you're an artist, but you're also there almost psychologist sometimes too, where you know
People tell you a lot of stuff.
they'll tell you stuff, right? And it's
Mhm.
cheaper than a
Totally.
session. Yeah, you've had 5 bridal trials now. I think we're good.
Yes, yes.
but so how do you find the main experience with a lot of the brides that you get? Are most of them nervous? Are most of them they know what they want? They bring in pictures, they have a clear idea, or they say, you're the artist, I leave it in your hands, just do whatever you want.
Sure. So I find now with Pinterest and Instagram, I mean, I've been doing updos for 13 years.
Hmm.
And when I first started, I was the one that brought magazines and I had my own portfolio of Polaroid pictures that I brought. But now with so much access to updos, a lot of brides bring a good amount of examples of things that they want or they've been dreaming of.
Hmm.
You get the occasional bride that says, I don't know,
Hmm.
I'm in your hands. I totally trust you. And
Yeah.
then you kind of got to figure out what they really want. So I feel like I get a good mix of it. And then of course, you see the same things that are
Yes.
trending. And I feel like I
Hmm.
end up doing the same 50 updos
Yes.
over and over and over too.
Hmm.
So you get really good at those
Oh,
things as well
uh,
because people don't want things that are out of the box. Brides don't
no.
usually.
Yeah, and if something, like you say, if it's something trending, but that's how they feel. I think it's the same probably for bridal wear and gowns and stuff. They see
Mhm.
the dress, and then it's like, wow, because they see the picture and they think they're going to look exactly like the picture,
Right.
right? The hair is going to be like
Right.
the picture, even
Right.
if they don't have enough hair or they have way too
Right.
much hair and they think, but
Right.
so for a bride that really is indecisive, how do you handle that? Like really indecisive?
Yeah, so I've had a few of those, and that can be super challenging because
Mhm,
sometimes it's like they don't know what they want and they won't know what they want.
mhm,
So what I do a couple things, and I feel like this has helped.
mhm,
Is one, I offer them many trials, and I try to do
mhm.
it all on the same day. So often if you do one and you realize, okay, I've tried 3 or 4 things, it's just not landing,
Hmm.
I'll do a second trial and keep a lot of time out so I can
Okay.
really give them a lot of options, which,
Hmm.
it's tedious, it's a
Hmm.
lot of work, but it pays off because then they feel like they've explored all the options. And
Yes.
then the other thing that I think is really helpful is to tell them to bring family and their friends in to help kind of get
Hmm.
outside opinions and affirmation. And I find that if they still don't know by the wedding day,
Hmm.
that their friends will help them pick that out. And I know that I can kind of rally the team to sort of
That's
affirm
right.
the
Be
style that maybe
supportive.
I
Say
think
that
suits
looks
her
great
best or that
on
I
you.
think they're leaning toward.
Hmm. And
Totally. Because sometimes, that person is not going to, they're not going to know. They just aren't. And they're probably like that about everything. So
hmm
it's not you, it's them. And you just have to be
yeah.
really patient,
Yeah, and I think what it
basically.
is they want their day perfect, and they don't want to make the wrong
Mm-hmm.
decision, because if it's not right, it's
Mm,
going to potentially ruin their whole day. Even though you know that
right.
things are going to go as planned. I've had, as I say, I've done a lot of brides, and the same. I've had brides where somebody went to pick up the cake, and they were getting at the bakery, the whole top of the cake slid right off,
Jeez.
and they're like,
Mhm.
there's all
Awesome.
kinds of stuff that happens, and you're right there with them. Plus, you have to keep them calm,
Mhm.
because you don't want any backlash, because now they're upset that
Totally.
this has happened, and you're like just there doing your thing. and
Yes.
and do you find that some brides though have unrealistic expectations, or they see this bride that has these big, like it's really high, like the hair is really high, and you do that less, and they're like, that's so how do you handle that type of thing?
I'm like, wait, that's not actually what I wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I really try to be super honest right up
Hmm.
front. So if I see that all their pictures are blondes and they're brunette,
Hmm.
just that off the bat can be something that can be challenging because it's just going to look different on them. They're not going to see the
Hmm.
texture, they're not going to see the details in the way that they're looking at in the picture. So I try to be really honest about what I can and cannot do and then explore options. So like if
Hmm.
they have something, for example, back and they have like zero hair and
Hmm.
it's to their shoulders, I
Yes.
can say this is realistically going to take this amount of extensions, or
Hmm.
this is the way that we can achieve this look from the front that you like, but we'll have to modify the back. So just trying to set up really realistic expectations from the get-go so you
Hmm.
don't have to over promise and then under deliver. It can be the other way around where you're under
Exactly.
promising and then over delivering at the end.
And it's nice too to be able to use
Yeah.
pieces, incorporate pieces, or just say, "Hey, what do you like
Hmm.
from this picture?" And then we can say, "Yes,
Right.
with your bone structure, this would work." Or, what type of wedding? I think it all depends too. What type of wedding they have as well. Is it a country and western
Hmm.
theme? Is it 18th century? Is it like they're just going to let loose and they're going to do tons of dancing? Is it very
Right.
reserved? I think that really makes a difference
Hmm.
in the hair as well, when people come to you,
Yeah.
because if they're saying I want this, and they're going to be shaking all night, and it
Mhm.
it
It might
but
not
yeah,
last.
but do you have some go-to products that you like, that you find that works well, like for getting texture into the hair, or that sort of thing that you normally use?
Yeah, so I've been using bedhead products for a long
Okay.
time.
Hmm.
They have a really great flexible hairspray called Masterpiece, and I use that
Okay.
for all prep. And I feel like that just works
Hmm.
really well. I can brush through it, it's really workable. Partly, I have a pretty strong allergy to a lot of hairsprays. I
uh
just get really nauseous from them. So
hmm
I have to pick something that works well, that I'm going to be breathing in for
that's
hours. And
right.
that's something that I've used and it's been okay. But
Hmm.
as far as texture sprays, Kenra has the best, in my opinion. They have this
Okay.
great dry texture spray. Big Sexy Hair has a one called Play Dirty that I really like. It's a
Hmm.
little bit heavier, so it's better for thick
Yeah.
hair.
Hmm.
But those are kind of my go-to. Those 3 brands, I sort of
Hmm.
mix them up. The Kenra, the Big
Yeah.
Sexy Hair, and the Bedhead brand, and pick and choose sort of what works well for me in those product
Hmm.
lines.
Yeah, and it would depend, I guess, on the texture of hair and the type of style they're looking for. If it's sort of loose and soft, or
Yeah,
it's tight curls, or it's very sleek and tight, I guess that makes a difference in your
right,
product choice as
polished.
well. Yeah, and some people like the
Yeah,
messy
I just like to
natural.
have a lot of stuff in my kit.
Oh yeah.
Right. And I think you just have to be prepared for everything. I have a huge kit and I just want to be like I want to have everything ready to go. I want to have powders. I want to have different types of texture spray. I want to have different hairsprays. I want to have
Hmm.
polishing
Hmm.
sprays. I want to have pomades. I
Yeah.
have a little scissors. I have hair extensions. I
Oh,
have
wow.
all the things because you just never know what's going to come up.
Yep.
And I don't ever want to be like, man, I could do that if I had A, B, or
Ha-
C, but I don't. So
yeah.
I carry a big kit, but
Yeah,
makes
and
me
I
feel
guess
better.
that's something people don't realize too, like the value of having some little hair nets or having some stuff. So if you want to create some height and some
Yes.
make an instant bun if you don't have like a piece or something to put
Yes.
the donuts or something like that, you're able to make it and then get lift, around it and give the illusion that they have hair.
Exactly.
Because I think
Exactly. And
that's
you can
that.
just keep cheap hair. You don't have to have nice extensions. You can just
Hmm.
have $5
Yep.
synthetic hair that you can just
Hmm.
rat up and ball in there. And,
Exactly. Yeah.
that doesn't cost you anything.
No, and that's a great idea too. And just to kind of have the little pieces there. How do you go about accessories? Do you provide accessories? Do you look for accessories? Do you find different, like say if some people want some little jewels, or do you
Yeah.
make your own?
Yes. So I have a lot in my studio, and so they can purchase them from me, or they can just try them on, and we can take pictures with them, and then they can go find one on their own. So, a lot of times when they're dress shopping or they're looking for jewelry or something, that shop will sell it as well.
Hmm.
Or like Etsy has a lot of custom pieces. So I find that brides like to see an example of what it could look like. So I like that I
Hmm.
have a plethora of things for them to
Hmm.
try on. And then, yeah, if they want to purchase it from me, they can do that as well.
Yeah, well, it's nice too. I think even if you're not only doing, but do you also do not just the bride, but you also do the wedding party as well, correct?
Right.
Yeah. So if you got
Yeah, I
everybody,
do.
because they may
I do
say,
everybody and flower
yeah.
girls, moms.
Hmm. So that's nice too, because sometimes the bride
Yeah, I
wants
mean, they all
maybe a
want something.
exactly. So they may want a tiara, but then maybe their color
Mhm.
scheme is blue. So you could have little pieces and make some things with some blue stones or whatever that you could have to match all them, because they may not want to buy,
Right.
something from the shop, but they may want little accent pieces or just some little pins with some jewels or some bling on it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
the other thing that I've been doing a lot is flowers too. So
Oh,
a
okay.
lot of people want some real flowers in their hair. So that's
Hmm.
something that I suggest they talk to their florist about and have their florist save out a few flowers from their bouquet or from the spreads that they're going to have on the table. And then if they've wrapped the
Oh.
bottoms of them in flower tape, they'll be ready for you to stick into the hair just with
Mhm.
a bobby pin. So that's another idea that brides can use too.
Yeah, and that's a perfect way to kind of incorporate the theme too, and then it all kind of blends and matches, in for a nice kind of flow. So we're gonna just jump a little bit because I know people are
Yeah.
excited about the bridal, and we have something in store at the end for you guys. So hang on, we're gonna jump ahead.
Yay.
But so going from hair to incorporating being a doula, how does that happen?
Well,
Because they're so
interesting
similar.
story. Yes. Well, long story short, when I was at Aveda, my sister had her first baby. I was there for her birth. One of my best friends had her first baby. I was there. And actually, I was working on a client when I was at the Aveda Institute, and I was telling them how excited I was about birth. And she told me what a doula was, and I had never heard of it before. It's basically a labor coach, and you're helping emotionally and physically support moms in labor for those
Mhm.
that don't know what a doula is. And I got so excited about it. And so I just started slowly pursuing it while I was at Aveda, actually, to get my certification and doing it
Mhm.
sort of on the side. And I ended up getting certified. And really long story short, I
Mhm.
worked in the salon for 4 years after Aveda, and I ended up quitting the salon to be a doula full time and do wedding hair on the side. And so that was sort of my transition out of the salon, was going to
Okay.
be a doula and a little bit of wedding hair on the side.
Mhm.
But being a doula and being a wedding hairstylist are surprisingly similar
Oh.
because you're with women on the biggest days of their life.
Mhm.
And even though birth, is a much more intense experience, maybe than
Yes.
getting married, they're both really significant moments. And I get to bear witness to those
Mhm.
moments. And that is so precious to me. And I've actually done a lot of people's wedding hair who I went on to be their doula for their first baby, which
Oh,
is really
wow.
cool. And so I've really been able to be on this journey with women. So for me, it just really resonates with who I am and how I like to serve women. And like I said, bear witness to something that's really beautiful and amazing that's happening in their lives. So
Hmm.
they seem really different, but for me, they kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah, exactly. Because when you say you have that connection, like because you're dealing also with their emotional state, not just the physical state, but the
Hmm.
emotional state. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's a physical process, both the wedding and the birth, but yet it's the mind. So I think
Yes.
probably those techniques, because when you're dealing with women as a doula in their most intense state, you can carry that same training to brides when, as I say, some of them that are
Yes.
getting overwhelmed, it's their wedding day, it's happening, now they're in the chair and it's finally like hitting them. Because even sometimes I think
Yes.
with doing the trial, it doesn't hit you yet until it's like really happening. You're going through the process, but it probably seems surreal. And then when
Definitely.
it's like, this is the final time, I'm going to walk down the aisle, it's like then probably all the stuff happens. I'm getting cold feet. What's
Definitely.
happening?
Yes, there's so much that comes up.
Hmm.
And one of the biggest, actually, the biggest compliments that I ever have gotten from brides, and it's happened more than once, is that I've been a calm presence for them on their wedding day. And
Hmm.
I'm like, if that's all that I do, that's enough,
Hmm.
because that means a lot that I can help do that for brides, because you're the first person that they're spending time with on their wedding day. And I feel like you have a lot of power as the hairstylist to set the tone and help
Hmm.
them kind of get ready in a really peaceful way, or you can make it stressful. So don't be the
Hmm.
person that makes it stressful. Be the person
Exactly.
that helps make them calm, you know?
Mhm. And that's exactly, and that's huge because I think a lot of us, some people, they dread when they see a bride coming, or they have to do wedding hair, or they're like, they just don't like updos, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're stressed. And I think to the person that's going to them, just because they say they may work at a salon and you have no choice, they're like, hey, we got this wedding party coming in, you're doing it. Or you're doing like a
Right.
person from the
Right.
wedding. And if you're already stressed yourself, people can feel that. They can feel it,
Yes.
because they know and say like being a calm, like even so. But I think the best way probably. What would you say for a stylist? What's their best way if they don't think they're good at doing updos, or how would they overcome dealing with a client when they're not feeling confident in themselves?
Sure. So I think that one thing, I mean, just off the bat, to get more confident in doing updos, you just got to practice. And that's probably a no brainer, but that's kind of just the skill level needs to come from a lot of practice. And then you your job in the trial, I think, is to figure out not only if you're a good fit for the bride, but if the bride is a good fit for you. So, like we talked about in the beginning, you're going to feel nervous and uncomfortable if you feel like you're not a good fit for that bride. So, I think it's better if you do a trial run with a bride and you're just like, I can't execute, like we talked about earlier, I don't feel comfortable with this style. I'll recommend you to somebody else, because you're not going to feel confident. You're not going to be able to be that calm presence for somebody if you're not feeling like you can do what they want you to do. So,
Hmm.
I think it's better just to be honest and say, you know what, this is out of my wheelhouse, especially when you're just starting out. So
Hmm.
be upfront, and then, you can operate out of your skill level rather than trying to do something that you know you're going to be nervous about and
Hmm.
feel unsure about.
Yeah, and I think for the client or the bride, she may say, "Okay, thank you for being honest. You know, are you comfortable with a couple of curls?" And they may have you. They'll go to someone else and maybe have you do the flower girl, or have you do,
Right. Or you
the
can be the assistant. Yeah.
hmm. Yeah, and I think yeah, assisting, and that's it. Because I think isn't that the best way to learn when you're even handing pins or just watching how do people twist things? How do they get this to mold? How do I do a
Yes.
front successfully? I think would you say that's probably one of the most difficult parts? Not a matter of stabilizing the hair, but making the
Mhm.
front into something
Yes. Yes.
that's workable or nice that blends into everything
Yes.
else. I think that's a
And the
big.
most challenging thing about the front is that you don't know how that person feels the most comfortable. So you could do something beautiful on the front and they're like, nope, because it's just not their thing. And we
Mhm.
all have our little ways that we like to have our hair in the front of our face. And so
Mhm.
it's really important to be confident with them holding a mirror in front of them as you're helping them figure out where they want that hair to lay in front, and
Mm-hmm.
asking a lot of questions about where they part their hair, how much hair they want down around their face. Do they like their
Mm-hmm.
ears to show? Do they like their ears to be covered? Do they feel like they have a big forehead? Like all
Mm-hmm.
those little things you need
Mm-hmm.
to ask up front so you can really execute something good in the front
Mm-hmm.
for them in front of a mirror. Because if you just try to surprise them, that makes people nervous.
Oh
So I think
yeah.
one tip is to have them hold a hand mirror while you're working on the front, because it's it's a little nerve-wracking, but they'll feel really confident in you if they feel like you've
Mm-hmm.
nailed it in the front. Then you can just
Yeah.
relax and work on the
Yeah.
back and work on details once you get that front down, you know?
Exactly, and I think that's what it is because a lot of people wait, they do the front last, or you mean then going through first and say, okay, this is
Mm-hmm.
how I need to incorporate it. But I guess like with your fringe or with the bangs, it's such a small area, but it's such a big thing that people don't concentrate on. I think
Yes.
a lot of them can concentrate on making it beautiful in the back where the bride can't see it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, okay, we're running
Right.
out of time, got the next one, let's just do this. Way you go.
Right.
You know, but
Right.
but but it
And
is
not to say that you can't. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, go. Yep.
I was just going to
Okay.
say, not to say that you can't save the front for last, because I do that
Mhm.
a lot too, but
Yeah.
I will get the hair set in front. So maybe putting it in a curl or something. So I'm going to get some good volume, and then making sure, like you said, that you're not spending all your time on the back. You really need to
Hmm.
give them a lot of attention to the front, because that's what they see and that's what
Hmm.
pictures see. So
Yeah.
that's really, really important.
Yeah, and that's the best way to do it. And probably you would do this obviously during your trial as well, so you know what they're comfortable with, what they like. They may think, I
Yes.
have a large forehead, I need this sweeping, or just say I have an alternate, or say they want this sweeping style, but maybe their bangs are here. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
then do you
Yeah.
incorporate some of the hair behind? Do you clip in another piece? Do you, like all that kind of stuff? And I guess you find out, are they wearing, what kind of hair accessories they're wearing? Are they wearing a hat? Are they wearing, certain things, or they want it on a certain side? I guess there's so much more to a trial than, hey, come, let's just try a couple things. There's really
Right.
much more in-depth knowledge that you need. And
Right.
I don't think you can probably like have the idea and say I'm going to open up a bridal business and it happens like that. There's probably a lot more
No,
work
it takes
to
some time.
it.
Yes.
But
Yes.
the great thing is because with your years of experience, it'd be great to have anybody who's interested in a bridal business learn from someone who's already done it because you've already done it, so you're eliminating the curve of what
Hmm.
to do, how to go with the process, how to how to achieve different things, or even the contract that you said, like most people don't do a contract at all. The stuff isn't laid
Mm-mm.
out, what you need in a contract, what should be in a contract. And most people are like, okay, you want to come? And then they're like, oh, okay, my person didn't show up. And I think we should know
Terrible.
too what would happen if, the bride, and I've had that before where a bridal party came an hour late and had another bridal party right after them. And they had hair down
Hmm.
thick past their waist, then wanted it shampooed,
No.
dried, and curled, and put. You know what I mean? So
Disaster.
these are
Yeah.
challenges that happen, and I also came in early because I know actually I came for 5:30. They were late. They didn't come till 7:30, so they're 2 hours late. And then I had another
Oh
wedding
my
party.
gosh.
Yep,
That's
at the normal time, right? Like for
terrible.
8:30. So it's good to know what to do over challenges like that and what policies to put in place, and do you have a no show policy if somebody bails on you, but at least does
Hmm.
the cover of the sorry does the contract that you have kind of cover those incidents if they
Yeah.
do occur.
So aside from having, I told you guys about the
Yeah.
risk free trial or the
Hmm.
risk free deposit, but that
Yeah.
deposit does protect me if they decide to cancel the wedding or
Hmm.
switch stylists or something without telling me. So at
Okay.
least I have the deposit that kind of makes up
Hmm.
for that day. And what I have found in my experience is having all my expectations written clearly out in a contract.
Hmm.
They view you as a professional. They know they're hiring a professional vendor. They feel more secure hiring you, and you're going to
Hmm.
weed out even brides that are sort of wishy-washy or that
Hmm.
aren't looking for a professional service, that are just looking for a cheap service. And so then you end up you're working with better brides
Hmm.
actually, because they feel more secure with having a contract with you. And then you can put in things in place, like you said, like a late fee, or I have a blow dry fee. If they come with their hair wet, I
Ah.
reserve the right to charge $25 a person
Hmm.
for me having to blow dry their hair, because that takes extra time and can throw
Hmm.
everything off. So just having things like that in the contract really help
Hmm.
keep you safe and also keep your bride
Hmm.
feeling confident in you as a stylist.
Yeah, and those are really good points because a lot of times, a lot of stylists will just do it. They'll just blow dry it. They won't charge. They won't, do any of
Mm-hmm.
that kind of stuff. And like you said, but it makes you more of a professional. They're hiring a professional. And the biggest thing I got usually a lot of times, people call around, what do you charge? Well, it's like, I haven't seen your
Mm-hmm.
wedding party. I don't know what you want. I don't know what your hair is like. Do I need to add pieces in? So some people will just call around and whoever will do it cheapest, that's where they go, unfortunately. But I guess with
Right,
that, like you said,
right.
you get better brides, better quality service, and those brides are willing to pay a little bit more because they want a professional and they want the best. They're
Mm-hmm.
not like, where can we go just to just to find somewhere to go. And I know people listening because they say
Exactly.
we titled this one "How to Start a Bridal Business." So Heidi, you have something special that you've done. So anybody who's listening, Heidi has done very something special for you. So anybody who wants to learn how to be in the bridal business, Heidi has a course for you that you can sign up for. We have a link here as well. I'm going to have Heidi tell you a little bit more about it, kind of what kind of content is in there, what things you're going to learn, just a little general overview. So I know you're getting excited already because I am, because I want in now. Sign me
Yes.
up before we even post this link. Sign me up. because
Yes.
because when you say like even updos could be a very financially rewarding, even emotionally, physically rewarding. Like when you're
Yes.
going through the process and the lives you're changing, I think more than that, it's the lives you're changing. And you
Mm-hmm.
also as a doula, you're seeing life created. And
Right,
then
right.
and with
Mm-hmm.
the other, you're also creating new life. You're empowering that bride. You're making them feel special on their like you said, like their best, like pivotal days in their
Yes.
lives, because once they say I do, that's going to change their course of their life.
Totally. For sure.
Yeah, so
Yes.
I'll hand it over to you, to Heidi, so kind of you can mention the link, what it's kind of all about that you have. And because if you've been listening so far, Holly is professional. Heidi, my brain is going crazy. But
No problem.
Yeah, brain. But Heidi is a professional. You've been listening to her. You've been listening to her stuff. Even if you just listen to this podcast, all the nuggets that she's given you, you would probably pay thousands just to learn the same stuff that you've heard on this podcast. So I'm going to give it over to Heidi now. She's going to tell you a little bit about the bridal business, and yeah, there you go.
Okay, yeah. So I started to have a lot of other hairstylists ask me how I can get into this business and do the bridal hair. And so I ended up creating something called the Updo Collective, which is a community for other freelance hairstylists who are excited about doing updos and weddings, or who are wanting to get into that more, to have a community where we can learn about business, we can grow together, we can support each other, because it can be kind of lonely and we're the only ones who are working. And so it's nice to have other people that you can bounce ideas off of, who you can lament with, who you can just kind of talk about how to troubleshoot situations. So the Updo Collective is just for that. And what I created for your listeners is a special link for the course that I created on how to start your own bridal business. And that is at theupdocollective.com/hairstylist empowerment podcast. And it's a sign up for pre-sale of the course that's going to be happening this spring. And I will give everyone on your, with this link that signs up, a discount on the course as soon as it goes live. But even in the meantime, the Updo Collective, you can get some free downloads. I have YouTube videos on how to do updos. I'm sending out a newsletter twice a month that's talking about just business tips on running your own bridal business. So if you go to that website, theupdocollective.com, you can get on that website and get on the list so you can get updates. And then I have an Instagram page as well, and every updo that I post, I just give some technique tips on how I did that. So yeah, I just really wanted to create the space for people who want to get into this world and don't know where to start, because it's not taught in cosmetology school. And the other thing that I found is that when you ask other people in your area who are successful, they're not going to tell you because it's competitive. And it doesn't need to be competitive. There's enough brides to go around. But I found like I was hitting so many walls when I tried to reach out and ask for help, and I wasn't getting it. And so I just kind of worked on it on myself. And after doing 5-6 years, I started to figure it out. And now I really want to be able to share that with other people, help other people start this business, because it really can be financially freeing to be outside of the salon where you're making hourly or maybe making commission. And the bridal industry is pretty lucrative, and you can easily have a family and to spend more time with your family and friends by working weddings rather than working 40, 50, 60 hours a week in a salon setting. So that's kind of what my goal is, and what I want to create for other people is this space to be able to learn how to do what I do, because I love it. I think it's the best job.
And I think that's amazing too, because somebody who they went to school, they like hair, but they're not big on coloring, they're not big on doing foils, they're not big on cutting, but they love styling,
Which
right?
was
They
me.
love blowing hair, they love, styling, but you're saying you can make a career out of it, that just doing updos and bridal
Yes.
alone, you can be financially free potentially. You can set your own price range. You can be your own independent entity, that you don't have to work 40, 50, 60, 70 hours in a salon, where you can kind of set. And if you have a family, you can spend more time with your family. If you want to take a vacation, you can take a vacation. You don't have to go and put in
Exactly.
a request to your boss to say, hey, I need this day off. If you need to go, you can just go. And that's
Yes.
because you're the epitome of really what this podcast is. You're empowering people. You've done it yourself. So you're not just teaching ideas, you're teaching practical application of the stuff you've done. So anybody
Yes.
getting in, so we'll make sure you have that link, and we'll mention it again at the end of the show. But if you get in, Heidi's gonna probably show you everything you need to know. Perhaps I haven't even asked her, but she may
Yes.
do some email coaching. She may do something.
Yes.
If you need to contact her, you can probably work something out, and you could say, hey, Heidi, I need help with this. Or like when you're in the program, then she probably has
Yes. And
extra.
that's the thing with this course.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. It's 10 modules. It's walking you through step by step how to start from the beginning, from creating your name to setting up your website, all the way to how to network, how to get started on marketing. And I have my email available along the way. So anywhere you get stuck, I'm more than happy to one-on-one coach people and help them troubleshoot, because I just think there is not enough resources of
Mhm.
people who are willing to walk with people on
Yeah.
this journey. So yeah, I'm more than happy to do
Wow.
that.
Wow, you really have everything in here, because I thought, okay, it's just more about just the updo itself, maybe how to deal with brides, but you're also telling them really how to do the business part and even the networking part. Nobody tell in school. I'll tell you, in school, they don't tell you how to be successful. They don't teach you how to be an entrepreneur. They don't teach you how to network with people. They don't teach you, and a lot of people they finish school and they go to a corporate salon, and they end up that corporate salon for however time, but then you end up
Yep.
working for minimum wage for years and years and years, and you're never really
Yes.
free. Where with Heidi, she's free. She's free. She does what she loves, and she loves hair, but she also loves being a doula. She loves, what I mean, being with her family. She loves enjoying life, which allows her to do that. She's not stuck working 70 hours in a salon for someone else. She took charge of her life. She's creating her life. She's making those pivotal decisions that says, hey, I'm worth more than just, you know, being, a factory cookie cutter hairstylist.
Yes. Yes, that's exactly right. Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, but you're allowing people to be creative. You're allowing people to be, just and really, as I say, this is sometimes I get really passionate. I have to hold myself back, but that's why I created this empowerment podcast for hairstylists, because there's so much that we don't know. There's so much that we're not
Yes.
taught, and we pay thousands. And everybody listen, we pay thousands to
Yes.
go to school. And yes,
Yes.
we learn how to cut, color, perm, do the basics, but they do not teach you how to succeed. They do not teach you how to open a business. What do they teach you? Location, location, location.
Hmm.
and
Sell,
that's a
sell, sell.
exactly. And so retail.
Hmm.
And if you want to make more money,
Hmm.
sell more retail. Do more clients. You go to
Hmm.
your boss, I need a raise, sell more retail. Do more clients,
Hmm.
do more service. But is that really working, you know, smarter, or is it just working harder and then you really don't get
Hmm.
anywhere at the end of the day? But I think having Heidi here has been a gift and a blessing. I'm so glad I had the chance to meet her. I'm so glad that she reached out to me in the Hairstylist Empowerment podcast, because she really is all about empowerment. She really is. And I think, too, you have a gift that you want to share with people, and that's part of your serving, that you really want to, because you've done it, you want other people to be able to do it too. That you
Hmm.
get them out of
Yes.
where they're trapped, you get them out of where they're, where they are. And if you're stuck right now and you love updos, you know what I mean? As I say, we have the link here. You can find Heidi on social media, and we'll post her links there as well. If you want to shoot her a thing and say, hey, I really love the podcast, let's connect. Or as I say, I can't wait until the course comes out in the spring. But follow her stuff. She has lots of tips. She has an amazing website, just her personal website, just to kind of see how she does things. Don't copy it, but just how she does things, right? And to see where she's at.
Yes.
You're like, that's not good. Take the course first, then she'll show you how to do it. Then you're okay.
Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly.
So I just want to do something quickly before we wrap up. So you also went to Bethel University. So what were you doing there?
Hmm. I have a degree. I know, isn't that funny? I have a degree in exercise science, actually. So
In
I was going
what?
to maybe
Sorry?
be a physical therapist,
Oh, okay.
exercise science. So I
Okay.
actually ended up being a personal trainer and I coached hockey and did nutrition coaching for a while after college. Which
Wow.
again, it seems unrelated, but I'm telling you, you're working one-on-one with people, you're helping
Mhm.
them feel better about
Yeah.
themselves. It's all related. So I look back at the path and I say, you know what? These are all things that have contributed to this
Hmm.
journey in my life, and nothing is disconnected. So yeah,
Yeah.
I have a passion for fitness and
Yeah.
working out and running and biking and stuff like that too. So yeah,
But it's
that's what I
amazing
did
that
there.
you're able to do that, right? You're not just stuck into one thing. You're able to branch out in different things, because I think too there's
Hmm.
always different facets to us. We have more than one interest. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Yes, we love hair, but not everybody wants to do hair 24/7. Sometimes you want to do some other things. Sometimes you want to take your gifts and do them somewhere else. Like I did hair, but I also, helped out with bridal shows and some different events and some things where I could utilize my skills outside the salon, and you're more outreaching to different communities, different people, and that sort of thing. So I'm going to get you, Heidi, just to give a shout out again of the link for the Updo
Yes.
Collective. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the updocollective.com/hairstylist empowerment podcast.
Okay. And where
That's
can
the
they
link.
find you? Where can they find you on social media?
Yes, so I am at the Updo Collective, and that's on Facebook, that's on Instagram, Pinterest, all the sites. And then my personal wedding hair and makeup company is 139 Hair by Heidi. So that's my handle on everything too. And my website is 139 Hair by Heidi.
Oh, amazing. So definitely check it out. So as we wrap up, Heidi, I'm just going to leave with you giving some words of empowerment to our audience.
Words of empowerment. I think the biggest thing is trust yourself. Look inside. This sounds really cheesy, but dig deep inside. Look at the things that you're passionate about. What do you care about? And just trust that those are the things that you're meant to do and move forward in them. And I know I've had a hard time overcoming fear of failure, fear of disappointment, fear of disappointing other people in my life. And it's a battle that you have to overcome, but it's so worth it. And so just get over the fears that you have and step out in faith, step out in boldness, and do what you love, because life is just too short not to. So
Hmm.
that's my that's my words of wisdom.
Wonderful, wonderful words of wisdom. Yeah, so take heed. If you need to listen to this podcast again and again, even just for the Heidi's words of wisdom, it's well worth it. I thank you for joining us today. I'm your host, B Rad, Celebrity Hairstylist, and we'll see you next time.